In the remote town of Black Hollow, nestled deep within a dense forest, time seems to have forgotten its inhabitants. The town, once prosperous and lively, is now a shadow of its former self, with only a few remaining souls who dare call it home. The dense fog that perpetually cloaks the town, combined with the thick canopy of trees, creates an atmosphere of perpetual twilight. In this eerie stillness, an ancient curse has begun to stir, manifesting itself in the form of sinister whispers that echo through the darkness. Jack Morrison, a man in his late 30s with a quiet demeanor, recently moved to Black Hollow seeking solitude after a tragic accident that claimed the life of his wife and child. A writer by trade, Jack believed that the isolation of the town would provide him with the peace and quiet necessary to complete his latest novel. He had heard rumors about Black Hollow's haunted past, but he dismissed them as nothing more than local folklore meant to deter outsiders. The first few days in Black Hollow were uneventful. Jack spent most of his time setting up his new home, a small, dilapidated cottage on the outskirts of town. The cottage, surrounded by towering pine trees, had a clear view of the ancient, crumbling church that stood at the edge of the forest. Despite its eerie appearance, Jack felt drawn to the old structure, though he couldn't explain why. On the seventh night after his arrival, Jack was awoken from a deep sleep by a strange noise. He sat up in bed, straining his ears to catch the sound again. At first, there was nothing but the wind rustling through the trees. Then, faint and distant, he heard it, whispers, like voices carried on the breeze. Jack assumed it was the wind playing tricks on him and tried to go back to sleep, but the whispers persisted. The next morning, Jack mentioned the strange occurrence to the town's general store owner, a grizzled old man named Thomas Gray. Thomas's eyes darkened at the mention of the whispers, but he quickly brushed it off, advising Jack to keep his windows shut at night. "This town has its secrets," Thomas said cryptically. As the days turned into weeks, the whispers became a nightly occurrence. Jack found himself unable to sleep, his mind consumed by the disembodied voices that seemed to be calling out to him. During the day, the town's remaining residents avoided him, their gazes averted whenever he tried to engage them in conversation. Determined to uncover the truth, Jack began researching the history of Black Hollow. He spent hours in the town's small, dusty library, poring over old books and newspapers. What he discovered sent chills down his spine. Black Hollow had a dark past, one that had been carefully hidden from outsiders. Centuries ago, in the early days of the town's settlement, a group of men was accused of witchcraft. The townspeople, gripped by fear and hysteria, had captured and executed these men without trial.